let's take a look at the integument on the green SOMSO model. So this model depicts three different areas of the body. So the panel to the furthest left here is going to be representing the hairy scalp. The panel in the middle here is representing the armpits or the groin area. And the panel to the furthest right is going to be the thick skin that we're going to find on the palms of the hands and the soles of the feet. All right, so let's take a look at the different layers of the integument here, starting with the thick skin. So the thick skin is going to have an extra layer relative to the thin skin, and that is the stratum lucidum. So from superficial to deep, we have the stratum corneum, the stratum lucidum, the stratum granulosum, the stratum spinosum, and the stratum basale. The stratum basale is going to contain the stem cells that will help replenish the upper layers. Deep to the epidermis, we have the papillary dermis. So these finger-like structures that contain some cutaneous sense organs are the dermal papillae. Within the dermal papillae, we're going to find Meissner's corpuscles. These are going to be sensitive to light touch. The type of epithelial tissue that we find in the epidermis is the stratified squamous epithelial tissue. The type of connective tissue that we find in the papillary dermis is loose connective tissue areolar. In the deeper areas of the dermis, so this is the reticular dermis, we're going to have a different type of connective tissue, and that's going to be dense irregular connective tissue, or DICT. You can use that acronym as well. The deepest layer of the integument, which is not a part of skin, is the hypodermis. This is going to be rich in adipose tissue, so we can see the adipose tissue here represented in yellow. And in terms of the sense organs within the hypodermis, we can find these Pacinian corpuscles or lamellar corpuscles, and these are going to be sensitive to deep pressure. We can also see here represented a section through an eccrine sweat gland. This will be the duct of an eccrine sweat gland, and these types of sweat glands are going to secrete a more watery type sweat with some salts as well as some nitrogenous waste like urea. And that duct of the sweat gland will then deposit the sweat on the uppermost surface of the epidermis, and an evaporative function can occur, which helps to cool the skin. Okay, in the middle panel here, which will be the skin that we find in the armpit and groin area, we have a unique structure that will also be a sweat gland, but this is the apocrine sweat gland. This is going to secrete the watery secretion that the eccrine sweat gland secretes, but it's also going to secrete some fatty acid and lipid substances. And so when that type of sweat is deposited in the area of the groin or the armpit, those fatty acids and protein substances can be used as food by the microorganisms, the microflora that is going to be found on the surface of your skin. And when that bacteria consumes those macromolecules, as a waste product, they produce an odor. So that's going to be the process that's responsible for BO, or body odor. Adjacent to the hair, we can see the sebaceous gland. So the sebaceous gland is going to be responsible for secreting sebum, which is an oily substance that will help lubricate the hair shaft. But the overproduction of sebum can lead to blackheads as well as acne. This reddish structure is composed of smooth muscle, and that is the erector pili muscle. And when that contracts, that is what's responsible for producing goosebumps. Here we can see the hair papilla, as well as the hair follicle in which the hair will reside, and the hair shaft will project superficially here onto the surface of the skin. Okay, I think that is just about everything on the green Samso model for the integument.